Hi, and welcome to Looks Good From Here, the show where we talk to designers and educators and creative thinkers that are shaping what the web looks like and what it really takes to get there. I'm Hannah from SquareKicker, and in this episode, we'll go beyond the scroll to uncover the stories, decisions, and the messy middle behind the beautiful work of Phil Pallen. Phil is a brand strategist. Hi, Phil. An AI expert and a keynote speaker who helps businesses build standout brands and master social media, content strategy, and AI tools. Oh, Phil, you've done a lot of stuff. You've worked with over 400 clients in 34 countries, delivered keynotes on branding, social media, and AI, and you're going to share some amazing stuff with us today. So we are so excited to talk with you. Thanks for coming on.
I'm so happy to be here. What a great intro, by the way. What a great show name. Good branding. I don't know. You guys got it all figured out, okay?
Well, we're learning little by little. I think it's such a journey, isn't it? You don't start at the point that you see often when people pop up on YouTube. It's like the middle or the end of their journey. And my goodness, if you go back to some of our old stuff, there was a lot of crazy color. It was very random. I think there were way too many dog photos, but I love dogs. So,
I also love dogs. So there's never too many dog photos ever.
One thing that I didn't include in your little slick bio at the start, but I think one thing that really stands out to me about your work and the way you show up online and the way you show up for people is your kindness and
that's so nice.
Oh, but it's true. And I think anyone that knows you would agree. Like, you just genuinely give to the community. And when you chat to people and when you do stuff like this, you give so much value and you really care about who's hearing the story and what they're going to learn. And I think that's one of the reasons I was really excited to have this chat today, because I know you're going to bring so much value to it. So thanks for joining.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. And actually, I feel the same way about you guys. You are such an amazing cheerleader. I told you that when I got to see you in real life in New York. I was like,
that was so much fun.
I mean, even pre-book launch, etc. Like, you have been such an amazing cheerleader since we've known each other. Like, really outstanding. So it is this love affair goes both ways.
Fangirl more than cheerleader. I definitely fangirled when I met you in person, and I was like, oh my goodness, Phil.
Oh, that's so sweet. It's just, the internet is a funny place. How
it is,
I don't know, a few tutorials that you make, let's say about Squarespace, can get picked up. They can perform well. I felt that way when I met Becca Harpain. I reached out to her and I was
such a superstar.
I was like, Becca, I would love to interview you on my podcast if you'd ever consider it. And she was like, of course I would. I've never done a podcast interview before. I was like, what?
Wow.
Like, we live in such this kind of like strange world of like digital consumption.
It is, isn't it?
Not strange, because I love that world because it's been my industry for 15 years. I love it, but it's weird and it's wacky and it's fascinating for sure.
Oh, yeah. So amazing. Hey, do you want to just give us a quick rundown on kind of your origin story? You've obviously been in branding. Now you've kind of become this amazing thought leader in AI. What started off the Phil Pallen show?
I moved to LA after graduating and couldn't get a job working at an agency, and thought, what are the practical skills that I can literally sell to pay my rent in Los Angeles from Canada? Moved there fresh out. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to stay here, so I need clients. Like, I can't get a job. So what if I was to help small business owners, like solopreneurs, like real people that have businesses built around themselves? So my first 3 clients were a makeup artist, a real estate agent, and a jewelry designer, all women. Shocker.
Amazing.
And they were trying to understand social media at the time, 2011. And I thought, I just come off of this crazy social media campaign to become Charlie Sheen, the actor's social media intern.
Wow.
And that's a whole other thing you can Google, but that really launched my career, or at least gave me the confidence. I didn't do the internship, but I made it to the top 5 out of 90,000.
Wow, cool.
Sorry, top 50. It's been a lot of years since then. Top 50. I'm exaggerating. Top 50, not 5.
We can say top 5. I don't think anyone's going to fact check
we'll break the rules long enough. We'll just make it up. That's what my memory said. But that really gave me the confidence to go, there might be a place for me in like the business world. I never intended to be an entrepreneur ever. It just kind of happened, born from the fact that I had passion and tangible skills that I could sell. So creating a website, which at the time was on WordPress, didn't really know how to do it, but figured it out. When a real estate agent was like, hey, can I pay you $4,000 to make my website? I was like, yeah, you can,
Oh,
because that pays
yeah.
my rent for 3 to 4 months. So hell freaking yeah. And then
Oh,
Squarespace
amazing.
came along and made people lives like mine much, much easier. I've
Yeah.
always approached digital marketing and branding from a design standpoint, always since day one. Just, I think, out of interest and potentially taste.
Mm,
It's just
mm.
how I lead. So Squarespace was instrumental in basically saying, hey, designer, we're prioritizing you over top of all the lines of code. And I was a
Yeah.
very early adopter of Squarespace. I think I worked on sites that were like 4 or 5, version 4, version 5, in and around then.
Yeah, that was quite a big change in the industry, wasn't it? Going from like
Yes.
kind of tech that maybe slanted towards a business owner to like, we are here for a creative first. It was a really interesting
Yes.
change. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So that's like the starting point. That's where you began. And then
Yeah.
obviously things have progressed from there. You've made some
hmm
changes. What does business look like for you now?
Oh, thanks for the question. Very different. So I really focused on one business vertical uh, for about 14 years,
Wow.
which was the client side. And it's been interesting, even using Circle Day in New York as kind of a barometer of how much my business has changed. I remember the first Circle Day I went to, I was still fully into it in terms of being a service provider for
Hmm.
clients. And then the next year, that was last year, I was kind of like, God, why am I here? This is now a smaller part of what I do, but I
Yeah.
actually ran some numbers. So from 2023 to 2024, I reduced my client work by 50%.
Wow.
And from 2023 to the first quarter of 2025, I've reduced it by 76%.
My goodness, that is a huge change. Why?
Humongous change.
What has prompted that change?
I make more money as a content creator, and more
Awesome.
importantly than money, I get to affect more change, and I get to work on projects that I'm more passionate about. So even pre-business launch, branding, social media, all of that in the early days, I studied broadcast journalism.
Hmm.
So I wanted to be a TV host. I wanted to present. I wanted to either be on stages or, better yet, like media formats, like radio or TV, that kind of thing. That's always been what I really wanted to do.
Mm.
And I put those dreams on the shelf when I moved to LA and thought, what are the skills that I can sell? Let's do that because I got to pay rent. But found my kind of niche or niche in TV hosts or personal branding has always been my thing. And
Mm.
so, jump forward to me deciding a few months before the pandemic, taking my own advice that I'd given a client. Actually, you'll love this. I don't know if you know the
So
story,
hard to
but
take your own advice, isn't it?
it is
Yeah.
hard to take your own advice, especially when you got a long to-do list. You're like, I'll get to it, but you never get to it. I
Yeah.
sent a screen record to a client saying, hey, client, here's how to update your Squarespace website. This is so simple. You're going to love it. And now you're going to be able to do it every week. Little screen record. And she wrote back, she said, why don't you post videos like this on YouTube? This was so helpful for me.
Oh,
3 minutes
cool.
of this. Like, you should put creating content like this on YouTube. That's what it took. That was the catalyst. It wasn't me going, oh, I'm going
Amazing.
to post videos on YouTube. It was that.
Funny, isn't it? Sometimes when, like you said, your life had almost been building this. It was what you had been aiming for, being on TV or this kind of thing.
It
But it
took
took
10
a
years.
client going like, hey, that was really valuable for it to click into place. That's
I was
really cool.
literally like sitting in this chair, getting an email or a ping that said, you should be posting more of this. And I thought, I actually really like making video content. And
Yeah.
so maybe I should do that. And so um, I started to make video. My first 20 videos on YouTube are about branding. And video 30 is the one that popped off. 3 free apps for content creation. Made that during the
Mm.
pandemic, hit 500,000 views. Uh, then brands started to take note of me, even though I had
Hmm.
barely hit 5,000 subscribers. I started getting emails that were like, hey, Phil, we'll give you this platform for free. Hey, we'll pay you $100. Hey, we'll pay you $200. And it started small. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, God, that's kind of cool. Like, I have clients that are content creators. I'm not a influencer or content creator.
Mm.
And just gradually started to take on projects that I found exciting. Gradually started to charge for those videos. So it would be like I would do a sponsored video and then I would do a a fill video, and then a sponsored video, and then a fill video.
Cool.
And
Nice to
it's
have
just
that
grown.
balance.
Yeah, but now it's just grown. I haven't done a fill video in well over a year. Every video that I do is sponsored now. And
So good. I feel like
yeah,
when,
it's my
when you
business.
post a video though, like we know that we can trust it because like I
Oh,
said at the
thanks.
beginning, like you are so genuinely caring about your audience. And I think
I
I
do.
keep getting slammed with this ad at the moment that's like teenagers are making their businesses using AI. You should do this. Here's
I get the
5,000
same
apps
ad.
to try. And I'm like, ugh.
I know.
But you know, when Phil pops up with one, I'm like, yes, this is gonna be good. It's gonna make impact.
That is pretty much the best testimony you could ever give me
You can
because
clip it. You can take it.
I will clip it. I will. Thank you for the permission because I have colleagues, like content creator colleagues that say, Phil, like why do you do so many brand deals? And the answer, other than money, is I don't assume that I'm the target market for the, like, that's my serious answer. The money is the funny answer. The
You've
serious
got to
answer
have
is like,
balance, right? You've got to have
gotta have
some money.
balance, yeah.
Otherwise, you know, we can't travel. And that's fun.
yeah. But like, I don't assume I'm the target market for the app that I'm creating for. I genuinely believe when I'm using an AI tool to create, tighten your workflow for your product images on Amazon, like that's not my business. But there are so many people out there that need that tool. Or someone who opens their inboxes and is overwhelmed. That's a lot of people I know. And so I can make a recommendation. A tool like SaneBox is literally going to make you sane. It makes me sane every day.
Great name.
Automatically organizes your emails into preset folders that you've trained just by dragging other emails into it in terms of how you want to group it. So instead of getting your product, emails, your client urgent, your support requests, all of that getting dumped into one inbox, now I get about 2 or 3 emails a day into my main inbox that my inbox has been trained to say, Phil, you need to look at these. Otherwise, they get filed away in folders that I prioritize.
Oh,
So
I know
cool,
what I'm
right?
downloading once I get off this call. That sounds amazing.
That's one example of my like love of AI tools, and not necessarily the ones that are super geeky where you need to go in and code and spend a bunch of time customizing or training a custom GPT. Like that's not really my world. My world is like, you're a busy entrepreneur, you're running a business. You need the tools, the tips, and the workflows to implement quickly, to not work more, but to ideally win more time back to not work and actually spend time doing things you love to do. Like that's my MO.
That's so good. That's one of the things we talk about here at SquareKicker all the time is like the reason we exist is to help people live lives that they want to live, right? It's
100%.
not to say like make 100 more websites, scale your team. Like that's great if that's what you want. But if you also want to be able to work half the time and not do that, how can we empower that? So I love that approach. That's really cool.
I'm right there with you.
I'm interested in this transition of how you went from like branding expert to a real thought leader in the area of AI. You've kind of carved out this really interesting space that combines like branding and tech and AI. Like how have you ended up in this bit?
So it's a good question. I think when I reflect on what were those inflection moments in YouTube for me, the first was that video I mentioned around video 30. I'm at almost 400 now, so it was fairly early on. But that's where I saw the impact that a viral video could have on my business. Views, who cares about views? It sent one video sent 20,000 email subscribers to my list.
Wow.
And through one freebie that I mentioned by chance mentioned in the first 20 seconds of that video. So that was when I went,
Can we just pause there for a second? How do you, what's the CTA on getting people to sign up? So they were getting a freebie from you?
Yeah, 100 evergreen content ideas.
Amazing.
Pre-ChatGPT.
Handwritten.
We literally took the time to make a PDF with 10 pages, 10 prompts on each page.
Carved into stone back in the day.
Literally. And so that was that kind of blew my mind in terms of the scalability of the internet. And then just truly organically, I started getting requests from brands, and I tried to say yes to as many as I could as long as it made sense. Because I learned so much in the process of creating videos for these brands and then being able to make recommendations. And then at some point, this is where you're getting, at some point I realized oh my gosh, for the time in on a video, it's starting to surpass my effort and billable hour as a brand strategist. So for years, I'll get specific. For years, I charged $350 an hour as a consulting hour or a strategy hour. That's what I charged. My colleague Lauren, we worked together. She ran the client side of the business for 9 years, which freed me up time in the later years to focus on some of the branding stuff and event stuff. And when she left, I increased my hourly to 500 because my time was more limited. And that's what I base it on now. But I make more money as a content creator than I make as a brand strategist. And that's just the reality of it. So time in, effort in, and also just like what I'm passionate about. Client work is awesome when you arrive at the final moment of it, but I don't miss or welcome late night texts, Slack messages. I don't give clients my phone number, most of them. Weekend messages, any kind of frantic email on Mother's Day that's like, oh, this is down. Ooh, this is broken. Ooh, this is urgent. Like, maybe this is age and maturing, but like I'm at the point where I would really like to welcome the fewest disruptions and stress points in my life as possible and really just focus on work that is simple. Not simple, still challenging, but like I want a simple business. I had the agency life of 10, 15, always small, but like 10 to 15 people that were employed by me, big contracts, negotiating, sales. I have none of that anymore. Like it's just a simple business. And as long as I can travel and buy a nice watch once a year, I'm happy.
Yeah, they're great. There's so many people that love that client work as well. I think that's one of the really interesting things I've found, and having like different discussions is like, they love, getting problem solving tasks from a client where the client's like, oh, I'm so frustrated by this. And, I was talking to one of our customer support guys and I was trying to think about, how can we balance your work? Can we give you some other tasks so you're not doing customer support all the time? Because that would really drain me. And he's like, I love it. This is my absolute happy place. There.
Good Lord, and I think that's a good person to have.
It's such a great place when you can come to the point where you can realize that actually some people love those tasks and leave those businesses to them. They're going to be amazing at it. And if you can refine your business to the point where you're really happy and fulfilled, that's awesome.
It's a reflection. I mean, listen, you started this podcast saying, Phil, your kindness, like part of the reason I'm kind is because I can be, because I love my job and I love my work. I should also say, we had 15 to 20 clients at any given time when it was Lauren and I working together and our team fully engaged. Now I have 5. So I have my Polaroids up here of my clients that I keep.
I love that.
I still keep a few clients to stay in the game. If the right project comes along and they need help with branding or they need a website, I'll potentially say yes. I think those projects, client projects in general, keep me in the trenches. It keeps me better at all the educating that I get contracted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying goodbye to it completely, but I have really defined the boundaries of what I want and what I will have,
That sounds like such a healthy balance. I'm so proud of the way that you've kind of developed that. I think that's really cool, and I'm really excited for you that you've in this space where your brand and your business is feeling really enjoyable and really
fulfilling
and great. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have obviously started championing AI for small businesses. And I think you have an amazing perspective when you approach this concept of AI for small businesses. And there's some really rough approaches to AI out there. There's, especially for those of us that were maybe born in the 80s, there's a lot of like, you're so far behind the curve, you're not even ever going to be able to catch up. And there's all this guilt around it. But I love the way that you've approached AI for small businesses. How did you get into the space where you were kind of advocating healthy, amazing use? Where did that come from?
Yeah, like I started to see, there's so many ways I could answer this question, but I guess I'll start by saying I started to see the ways in which it could help people be productive. And that really excited me. I've always tried to accomplish a lot in the day, a lot in the working day. Like, I like to work, but I also like not to work. as
Yeah.
evident by my
Right.
Instagram. Like, so it's like a healthy combo of the two. But I get really excited by productivity. Like AI is synonymous with productivity. And even when ChatGPT came out, it took me a while to get the hang of it, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And so I just made YouTube videos. It was like, I'm going to try this out. Like, come on this journey with me and let's see what we can create. Let's find out what it's good at. Let's find out what it's not good at.
Mm.
I have from the beginning not, I've claimed not to be an expert. I don't consider myself an AI expert. I consider myself a tech curious solopreneur that has a few businesses. And so for me,
Mhm.
anytime I can save time or create efficiencies that help me win back time, I'm in, honey. I'm in. And
Amazing.
yeah, so those are the moments I think when I saw, for example, generative fill in Photoshop could replace the background of a client photo. A client that had just come to me earlier that day and said, Phil, I love the brand photos. The photographer was amazing, hair, makeup, all this money I spent, but I don't like how the red brick photographed. And we could
Mm.
literally change it in an instant and still make it believable.
Such a
That was
game changer.
that was a moment where I went, oh, wow, this actually will make an impact in my work. It will save
Yeah.
time for my clients. And what I've also realized is like right now I'm really interested in AI not as a sign of laziness, but AI as a complement to expertise at your
Mm.
job or in your industry. And I'll give an example. When I do a branding project, which as I mentioned are fewer now than ever before, from the minute we start talking, I have an AI note taker that joins every single call. Even if it, for some reason, it doesn't join it, I will literally turn on my microphone and play it out loud and just record the conversation. I record everything. That
Yeah.
transcription, likely through Descript, or if it's already built in, great, will go into project files in ChatGPT is the one I use, but Claude, Gemini, Magi, they're all great options. I pay a little more for ChatGPT Teams, 2-seat minimum, $30 a month, but that's the minimum entry point into OpenAI where it doesn't train the model on your data. Super
Mhm.
important to me.
Mhm.
Even I think OpenAI is kind of sketchy. Like I don't put anything confidential into ChatGPT, but I pay for that entry point so that I can have information in there that's not going to get fed to the model. If you want to be super safe and secure in the data that you're interacting with, I recommend using Adobe Acrobat, actually, AI Assistant, the little rainbow button you see in the corner of a PDF now in
Really?
Acrobat. Yeah, that
Oh.
method will not train the model on your data. So you can interact with information that's as confidential as you want, and that information doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, that's
So
brilliant.
yeah, like I try to sprinkle in some of these kind of like compliance and security. Like they're not sexy, but that's the next
Yeah.
focus of these things.
So
And so
so
it's
important. Mm.
yeah. So I started to realize, oh my gosh, I can track conversations from the second I start working to a client. 4 months later, I can say to my chat, hey, remember when I had a conversation with Hannah about how I started my career as a content creator? We had that conversation 4 months ago. I think this was a keyword from that conversation. Go and find that. And let's now workshop how to incorporate that copy into my about page. Before you do that, ask me 4 qualifying questions or 4 questions that will help extract more information from me. And I'll reply in an audio note with my loose ideas. Classic Phil
Yeah.
Pallen. I don't like to type. I like to just talk. And
So
so
much more natural, right? I like
it's
that what
so
you said over there around
exactly
that, like loose ideas. It doesn't have to be
no.
perfect, like you would type into Google to find an answer or something. You can have these real natural conversations.
Here's something else I do when I'm working on a YouTube video. I say, don't write the script yet. I'm going to give you information in 4 stages. Stage 1, I'll attach the brief. Don't take action yet. Stage
Hmm.
2, I'll paste the homepage copy from this brand that we're creating for, because chances are they've put a lot more effort into positioning and word choice than I have for that brand.
Hmm.
So don't take action yet. Step 3, I'm going to paste 3 recent examples or upload, attach 3 recent examples of YouTube videos that I've created that have performed well. Stage 4, if we're going to play dirty, you want to play dirty, Hannah? You want to play dirty?
Always. Yeah.
I'm going to go extract audio only from 3 competitor videos that have created for that brand before. We're not going to copy them,
That's a
but we
little
can be
naughty.
strongly
Yeah.
inspired
Yeah.
by what they've done well. And let's now write a script prioritizing that brief that the brand provided. That's the most important thing. And so what that will do, that will get me a YouTube script, and it'll be 95% perfect. And then I'll just, as a human, go through it, add little adjustments, and there. That's how we used, I just gave you 2 examples as a brand strategist: save and note take, save your conversations, and then as a content creator, use it as a brainstorm partner. In both instances, AI is computing a lot of information quickly. We still need the human. We still need content, what you say. We still need personality, how you say it. But that's an example, 2 examples of how you might be the conductor of this orchestra. You don't have to play every instrument, but you, the human, are in charge. And those are some ways.
Because it's all stuff that we did prior to AI, right? Like we would have done those things. We would have researched our competitors. We would have scribbled notes as we were listening to things about them. We can just do it so much more efficiently and so much faster.
You can do it more efficiently. Exactly. You can compute the information faster, which gives you more human time to even go a step further. Like, how do you really make sure that that sounds like Phil Pallen? How do you really make sure that that's identifiably SquareKicker? These are the things that we need to think about now, because brand doesn't vanish. If anything, we'll become accustomed to AI results, and we're going to crave human. Human becomes a commodity in a really exciting way.
No, you're definitely right. You touched on something there that I wanted to pick up, because it was something that you told me, I think maybe last year when we were at Circle Day together, and you said you use ChatGPT as your thinking partner, and it changed the way that I use AI, like absolutely revolutionized it. And I use it all the time as a thinking partner. And I think it's probably saved the sanity of my team, because I used to kind of sit down and I'd be like, hey, I just want to like chat through this idea. And now I do that with the AI. I do that with ChatGPT. I sit there and I'm like, hey, I've got this kind of idea that I thought of while I was in the shower this morning. Like, here's a little bit of this.
I want to respect my team's time, and I'd like to bring it to them as a 80% baked idea instead of a 50% baked idea. Help me get it to that point. What are 3 pieces of information that I could provide you to help? You know, something
good.
Like that.
And then it does value that human time. You know, when you take it to the team, it's not this like weird ramble where you kind of have to untangle what we're trying to talk about. It's like, here's this idea. Let's really get valuable time thinking about it together. And you can make the most of that human time, which, like you said, is going to become more and more important.
I remember reading about President Obama, and when he was in office, he had a policy where with emails, correspondence, you had to indicate yes, no, or let's discuss. So that was the format that he asked all of his team to follow. Yes, no, let's discuss. So get this to me in a format that is either I can answer yes, no, or let's discuss. And that in itself, well, I think AI is now kind of like the let's discuss step before you bring it to a human. And I love that.
It is. It's such a good way of thinking of it. I know everyone probably asks you, like, what tools should you start with? But what I'm really interested in knowing is, like, how do you decide what tasks to use AI for? You know, like you kind of mentioned a few already, but if I'm sitting there, I'm a super overwhelmed entrepreneur, I want to use AI to try and bring in some of these efficiencies. Like, how would you encourage me to know what tasks to try and use AI for?
It's so funny because I've always struggled with formulating how I would hire a VA. And yet for me, I use AI just second nature, but it's just from practice and it's just from confidence that I've built. I've learned that it's terrible at some things. It's terrible at writing copy. If you give it, you know, if you say, write me an Instagram caption about my trip to Mexico, like it's going to give you absolute garbage with emojis. Whereas if I said, I said, I just got back from Mexico. I'm going to post a photo on Instagram of a picture of me drinking a margarita on the beach, but don't take action yet. Let me send you an audio note reflecting on what I think are the best moments, and then write a caption from there. That's a much better workflow for, because you're providing more input to get a better output. For me, it's just, I don't have like a business partner anymore. I'm really kind of leading the charge here on my own. And so for me, I've learned what it's good at. It's good at taking lots of information and distilling it. It's good at extracting text from an image. actually, really good. You could even
Really?
take a pic. Yeah, you could take a picture of your handwritten to-do list, and as long as it's written neatly, it would extract that text.
That's a problem for me. I think I write like a doctor.
No, it would still, I bet you it would do a great
I'll
job.
give it
Or
a
even
go.
just
I'll give it a go.
a screenshot, take a screenshot of your website, upload it to ChatGPT and say, you know, act as, I'm not really a big fan of like act as, but I use it occasionally. So act as a, you know, a web designer, or an SEO consultant, what advice would you have for me to optimize my homepage of my website? Here are some of my business goals. Like, so you just kind of learn by trying what it does really well and what it doesn't do well. In almost every instance, the more content you provide, more context you provide, the better output you're going to get.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's really helpful. I think it's really nice to know like you can tiptoe into these things. You don't have to be like 100% everything is AI.
No, you should tiptoe. Yeah, you don't need to be. So like I don't even search for things in Google anymore. For me, I would rather get the recipe, get the result, get the suggestion in a beautifully like minimalist black and white text format. And so the difference is when you go to Google, we're already trained to have a well-formulated question to get a good answer. That's how we're used to interacting with that search. Whereas you can go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude and say, I want to talk to you about this. Don't take action yet. I want to give you some more information. Like you don't have to have a question. You can have a statement. You like one of the first things I say to chat is I'm going to use this channel to, and then insert the task.
Yeah.
And so what it will then do is it'll rename the chat based on that first prompt. And I have that's how I organize all of my prompts. So in the client folders, I can find everything that I need. Then I'll typically take 3 or 4 steps to give the information so that I know it'll do a good job. But I take the time, like you and I are having a conversation. I do like to talk, so sometimes I talk a lot, but then we interact.
Yeah.
Right? I talk, you talk. I talk, you talk.
Right. A nice back and forth until you get to the spot.
That's what we're simulating. And so you can't really do that with Google. Google's very like one way. This equals this, and it already feels dated. So
if you don't
it's
get
just so exciting.
That you're after, you go and research rather than trying to nuance it. And
Exactly. Now it's just a conversation that you would have with a human. Now you can have it with a tool that can compute information quickly.
Have you named your AI, your chat?
I just call it chat. Yeah, I just call it chat. Yeah. So no, I haven't. I should brand it though.
We call ours George. I'll be chatting in a meeting and I'll be like, hey, I was just talking with George. And
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love it actually because it's almost like if you're on stage delivering a keynote, let's say, some of the best advice you can get is to speak to one person in the room. Or if you're doing something on camera, speak to one person in the room. The reason it's good to like brand it or name it, simulate a human, is that that's going to have an impact on how you interact.
Yeah.
Try like every day that passes, AI becomes better at conversational interaction and context. So every day that passes, it gets better, and it's just going to be closer.
So fast, right?
Yeah, it's
so
wild.
Fast. That kind of leads really nicely into something I wanted to chat to you about, which is your book. So you wrote a book about AI for small businesses.
I did. I have one around here somewhere. Oh, look.
Oh,
how convenient.
It's got such a good cover. Look at this.
Thank you.
Pre-prepared. Yay, AI for small businesses. Amazing. You can chat a little bit about what's in the book. I'm sure that will be really valuable, but I'm really interested to hear as well of why you decided to write a book about a topic that is literally changing every single day.
I know. It's a question I get the most. It's a good question. People are like, why or how did you do it? I did it by, well, one, I loved the challenge. I was excited about the challenge of it. But 2, I convinced myself that I could do it by focusing on the evergreen aspects of AI, which for me, owning a branding agency has given me a vantage point into so many different industries and types of businesses. Really be like in decision mode with a lot of these entrepreneurs and businesses of all different sizes. So it was easy, not easy, because writing a book was not easy for me. Recording videos, easy. Writing, not as easy, but it was a good challenge.
Yeah.
I thought, let's lean into what's evergreen. Examples, either real or hypothetical, of how my clients could be using these tools. Tool recommendations is pretty evergreen. As you know, for 4 years, I've been recommending and trying AI tools every single week. Do I get paid for those? Yes. But guess what? Compounding over 4 years, there's a lot of recommendations I can make based on tools I've actually tried.
Yeah.
And so that's actually, I think, why the publisher went forward with me. It is pretty unique, this kind of space of branding and AI, but actual tool usage and reviews. I think there are 185 tools mentioned in the book. It could be more than that. I lost track. But I tried at least half of them. And the other ones I thoroughly researched to be able to recommend them. So
Cool.
examples, tool recommendations, and prompts. Prompt examples so you could see how, I've given you a few in this recording, like how I might interact with AI. Doesn't mean that I do it the right way. Your way is just as right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, what a great approach. And I think you see that in the book. When you read it, you can see how valuable it is. And, you know, it will still be valuable in years to come, because like
That's
you said,
the goal.
you've built all of that evergreen in there. You've kind of broken down the mysteries of AI for all of us. So
Yeah, I
that's really
try.
cool.
It's an overwhelming topic, and I get that, but my recommendation would be like, keep some creators who are getting paid to do this full time close by, and let them decipher some of this nonsense for you. And also, don't let it derail you from your business objectives. Like, AI is not as important as it seems. I think hitting your business KPIs, more important. Making sure your business fulfills you and your team and your employees, more important. If there are challenges that you identify within those opportunities that AI can help with, that's where things get exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? I love that reminder, like, don't let it be a distraction, let it be a helper. That's
You
really
probably
cool.
don't need to track the latest chip development and whatever Sam Altman's doing today or tomorrow. Like, who cares? I don't even track those things. And I wrote a book on the topic. Like, you just kind of pick your lane. But you really focus on, like, here's the business opportunity.
Yeah, that's cool. Before we move on to some of our reoccurring segments, I don't think anyone would forgive me if I didn't ask you about your travel. So you are traveling a lot. You live
A lot.
this like version of a life that I think a lot of designers dream of, where you can take your laptop and sit on a beach.
I do
you have
that.
any like tips for people that might want to build a brand or a business that can travel?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been doing it for so long that I don't even remember like how. I'm just so used to it, which sounds kind of like a spoiled brat.
Way to
but
rub
I'm
it
not.
in, Phil. I know.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. I'm just used. It's just what's normal to me.
Yeah.
I would say it never gets old. I love it, and that's why I keep doing it. But I think really kind of audit what kind of shackles you have in place or what things keep you in place. There are sacrifices. I can't have a dog, for example.
Yeah.
I love dogs, like
No.
love them, but it's just not something that makes sense for my lifestyle, at least not yet.
You can come to New Zealand and hug my puppy.
Happily. Oh my God, happily. I've been to New Zealand before and it was beautiful and I want to come back.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you just have to kind of think like what's keeping me here, and then be intentional about designing a life that has as few things as possible keeping you in one place.
Yeah. When you are traveling, do you have like a cadence of your day? You like right in the morning, I set aside 3 hours for work and then I'm off and
It depends what I have on my
enjoying the
list.
environment, or
Depends what I have on my depends on what I have on my to-do list. But when I'm traveling now with doing less client work, I'm trying to do the fewest number of calls possible. So like no phone, like if I have to do calls, I'll do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, never Mondays or Wednesdays, and definitely not on Fridays unless there's some kind of emergency.
yeah.
I find that grouping the calls together really helps. If I'm in a place for a few weeks, obviously I'm going to have to do calls. I try to make sure that my time zone doesn't create any stress for the other person on the other end. Like it's my choice to be abroad, not theirs. So for example,
generous.
well, I've got clients like, I work closely with Adobe. They're mostly in California. So I try to make sure that I can still make time, even if it's working late one night or early one morning,
Yeah.
who cares? Group those calls together and then try not to stay in a place for too short of a time, because it puts pressure on you to be a tourist and to get work done. I like going to places for a month, to be honest with you. Can't always do that, but like I like to go for a month, and I like to live, and I like to work. I like to have days where I can zone and just like work and then not work.
Sounds fabulous. I'm sure that you've inspired a few people to rehome their dogs and take off to a nice beach somewhere.
Even if temporarily.
Exactly. All right, let's shift gears and run through a couple of these quick reoccurring segments that we are asking of every guest. It's nothing too serious, just a fun way to get a little bit of a behind the scenes look at some of your work. So let's start with showing us your site. Do you want to share your screen? I know you've recently redone your website.
I have.
It's beautiful. If anyone wants to see a really gorgeous site, definitely go and check out Phil's. But Phil, do you want to show us your site and something that you're proud of on there?
I do.
So Phil, this is your beautiful redesigned site.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk us through what you've done with it?
I would love to. So I really try to kind of push boundaries design wise, and just do something interesting. And this kind of marked also like the new era of my business. Sorry, that's me trying to get email signups in an annoying way.
Very important.
Very important. But like the font, if you stop there, the font is my handwriting. So
that's
my
so clever.
Handwriting. Thank you.
Wow.
I turned
How
my
did you get your handwriting turned into a font?
Yeah, there's tools online. You can just fill out like a template, and there's a site for that. And
so cool.
Yeah, and I just had some fun with it because as much as I lean into technology, I also want my brand to feel like analog. And the truth is, like, I don't use
so welcoming.
I don't use my website as much as I used to as a service provider. Now a lot happens outside of my website, but the truth is my website is the way that I think about my own business. That's how my brain works, right? Like my brain works.
I love it.
Thanks. My brain, like as I organize my business, I do that in the form of updating my website. I know it's crazy. Maybe it's not, but this is what I know and this is what I do. So yeah, like, I spent a long time on this website. We spent about a year actually working on this, just kind of chipping away. Also, it felt low on my to-do list.
I think doing your own website is the hardest thing,
it's
right?
Very hard.
It's the thing everyone procrastinates on. This footer is an absolute standout for me. I think it is stunning.
You.
So stunning.
It's fun to get feedback because the truth is I flipped this thing in January live before it was ready because I just got to the point where I thought, you know what, I can tinker around with this.
Yeah.
Or I can just like flip it live and jump in and fix things as and when they're needed, see, it's like there's still some issues with the loading of our little advanced group. We pushed the boundaries, so we knew that a few things would like break, and that's okay.
Look at that little
our
hover.
little rollovers.
That's so nice.
Yeah, little hover.
It's little touches, right? It makes the website beautiful.
And this is fun. This is the
palette
sticky.
Is stunning. Oh yeah,
thank you.
Love sticky.
We love sticky, don't we?
So much.
And that was a photo I took with my team out in Berlin. Like, so yeah, it's one of those things where I kind of like, I wince a little bit looking through. I'm like, oh God, what's broken? But at the same time, I'm so proud of it because it really represents the kind of business that we have today. And that's cool.
Yeah. No, it is absolutely beautiful. Definitely go and check that out if you are looking for some inspiration of a really beautifully done site. We love that.
It's one thing to get a website compliment. It's another thing to get one directly from you guys. Come on.
We do. It's a really fun position, actually. We get to see so many more websites now than we did even when we were doing client work because, we're seeing everything that everyone's making with SquareKicker. So we get to see such a beautiful range. And
I know. And there's so many cool things you can do. I love the like layered, like being able to layer images, for example, have them scroll at different speeds. Like you can really simulate some really just super cool things that you don't see on the web.
Yeah, there's some really fun things coming out, and we're making so many new tools with SquareKicker at the moment. So I think that's part of the problem if you use SquareKicker is you constantly want to go back and re-add all of these new tools in. So you're like always updating our site.
100%. But that's the joy of it. It puts the joy in creation. And like, again, don't worry if something breaks or don't worry if something doesn't load perfectly. Like that's the web. And you need to push the boundaries to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a good tip, isn't it? Push the boundaries to learn. I like that. I'm going to chuck it up on the whiteboard. Hey, design confession time. Tell us something that didn't go to plan, or a mistake or a misstep or a big learning curve that you had.
Well, I just noticed that my beautiful little pie chart thingy with the three circles I have a big, huge monitor, and seeing my website that was kind of like on a smaller width on Riverside, I was like, oh God. Um, so confession is like I probably haven't tested my website on as many views,
Oh,
screen sizes as I should have.
screen sizes are
Um,
always a hard one, aren't they? There's
Oh my
a million
God.
to
I
try
know the
and hit.
second you adjust it, then you find something new, you're like, oh, and then with the latest version of Squarespace, like you really have to like you make a change, check it on mobile, make a change, check it on mobile, make a change. I love the control, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like it's a lot of extra work.
You're kind of
But
designing two sites, right?
you're
Like you're
designing two
designing
sites, a
one for a desktop and
hundred
one for
percent,
a mobile.
hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Yeah. And the and the ever daunting tablet mode,
Yes.
which is a tough one.
Yes.
A last question here is, what do you do outside of work or design that keeps you staying creative? I think anyone that watches your work or looks at your beautiful new website sees how creative you are, but that can be draining. And so how do
Yeah.
you stay creative? How do you stay fresh?
Travel.
Amazing.
And turn off. So
Yeah.
I've learned that because my work is pretty intense, hugely dependent on me. I have to be on. And I find that like after the marathon and the sprint or a combination of the two, I need to just take 2 weeks or take 3 weeks off and do the minimal amount of work to just keep the business going. I find I've been doing that twice a year. So April and November, I just checked out and
So twice
built
a
a
year
business
you
that
book
permits
in
that.
and you're like,
Yeah.
you're those 2 times of the year you're out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
And then I
that.
have those to look forward to. And then I come back ready to rock.
So good to pre-plan it, right? Because life gets so busy and you say yes
Yeah.
to
You
that
have
client,
to
you say yes to that thing.
put
Before
it in
you
your
know it, we're
calendar
in
today.
December again. Yeah.
Hmm.
I know. That's brilliant. I love that. Yeah. Put it in the calendar, block it out. Don't let anyone book a time. Brilliant.
100%.
Hey, before we wrap up, we want to give you a chance to share, what you're working on, maybe share how people can get a copy of your book, how people can get in touch with you.
Sure. The book is on Amazon and available in lots of different countries now. Something that I'm working on that's relevant for this audience, I am building a membership. I'll probably launch it at the end of the year, called Brand Masters, mostly for the types of clients that I've worked with over the years, people that need that kind of support, AI built into it. But that's something I'm building on my Squarespace website, and so keep an eye on that. And then yeah, the book is on
That will be
Amazon, and then
so valuable.
oh, I can't wait. I'm really excited. Like I've
Amazing.
basically, and that's also been working on that for a year and a half. I've taken all my branding methodology, systems, worksheets, all of it, and
Wow.
systemized it so that someone can do it on their own.
Oh, the gold
Um,
standard. Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. So that's something I'm working on, in between all the other work that I get pulled around to do. But I'm excited about it. I definitely plan to launch it by the end of the year.
Cool. Oh, that's so good. And you recorded an audio, is it Audible? It's on
Yeah,
Audible, an audio version of
definitely.
your book with you
Yes, I
reading
did.
it.
I did. I
That
did it at
that's
home. I
brilliant.
bought this little like booth from Amazon. I spent almost all the money I got paid to record it on this like thing to do it at home as my ego. I was like, there's no one reading my book. I'm doing it myself. So I had some fun with that.
That's so good. I mean, I can just imagine people sitting there building websites for a client, listening to you chatting away in the ear. That'll be brilliant.
Just what you want. Just what you want. My voice in your ears.
Amazing. Hey, Phil, thank you so much for joining us on Looks Good From Here. We hope that everyone has enjoyed this little sneak peek behind the pixels. You can find Phil's links to Phil's work in the description. And don't forget to subscribe for more conversations with creatives that are shaping life online. Thank you so much for joining us, Phil. It is always a delight to talk to you. And we'll see
Thank
everyone
you.
next time.
Thank you. Thank you.